Hi and welcome to Lockdown Learning with me, Paul Holland. If you've clicked on this, it's probably because you're year 10, year 11 doing GCSE Latin and wondering what to do about that question number 11. Well, this is the right place to have come. We'll go through a question and see how we do. So yeah, this is the question where you have the chance to show if you can write in Latin. Now, probably the vast majority of you, unless you happen to have a teacher who is particularly cruel or who has pushed you particularly well in the direction of practicing your Latin from English, you probably won't have done this much at all. This is probably something that you have never really needed to worry about. So welcome to Lockdown Learning with me. I'm Paul Holland. I teach Latin and classics and a number of other bits and pieces at my school here in Westonbirt. We will be looking today specifically at that one question in the exam paper, in the language paper, where you have the chance to write Latin. What I'm going to be using today, this is the specimen for the 9.1 new specification format. It has occurred in the last two exams as well, so we're looking at question 10 and 11. Question 10 and 11, you have the choice between either of them. Now, I have it on good authority from doing a course with the exam board that they're quite happy for you to do them both and they'll mark your better results. And that's really useful to know because you have got quite a lot of time. In the past, it was 2 hour-long papers. Now it's one single hour-and-a-half paper, which is actually quite a long time for you to get to grips with quite a lot of the texts and passages here. So if you have the chance to do these, give them a go. And if you're up for a challenge, as I say, you've come to the right place. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the ones from this specimen paper. We're going to have a look at the 3 questions and we're going to see how to break them down because after all, they're worth 10 points. So question 10, which most people will do, consists of the kind of questions that you're fairly familiar with. For example, why is this noun in the accusative? And of course, very often the answer is, because the word in front of it is a preposition that takes the accusative, such as ad, or contra, or per, or in, if it means into. Lots of those sort of questions, you know, the sort that require you to identify what tense is this verb in. And you look at the verb and it's got vamos on the end and you write the imperfect. So you can get 10 points by doing that. And if that's what you're good at, that's great, you go for it. But there's then the alternative question 11, which also offers you 10 points for 3 very simple sentences. So you're given the English, you're expected to translate them into Latin. And what we'll do is we'll go through them now and we'll have a look at exactly what to do to get those points. They are worth thinking about because if you know your vocabulary and you know your grammar quite well, they're actually 10 quite straightforward points. So let's have a look at them and let's dive into the actual questions themselves. So here we are, these are the 3 questions that we've got here. I've put them up and we'll zoom into them there. You can see the 3 questions, quite nice and straightforward. And just looking at the points, you can see that we've got 3 points, 4 points, 3 points. It's worth just working out why those are 3 points or 4 points. Where will you get the points from? And I think it's pretty obvious when you start to analyse them that they're going to be looking for the right endings if it's an accusative, the right tense, and putting the verb to the end. Simple things that you've been doing since year 8, year 9 probably, put the verb to the end. So let's have a look at them individually. We'll dive into the first one. Here we are. This is straightforward. The girls were walking to the forum. So let's just split it up a little bit so it's nice and clearer to see. And what we'll also do is we'll underline the units that go together. There's the girls, they go together. The forum goes together. So we can cross out the word the and we can cross out the word the there as well. Always useful to do that because then you can see how many words you're going to need. And hopefully you've also identified that yes, it's not a straightforward present tense. It is were walking, which you know is one word in Latin. So we can really cross out the were. Don't ever translate that as a separate verb. Put it into one section here and don't forget this is the verb. So you identify the verb here, and you can immediately say that's going to go to the end. That will push to the end and we'll save that. So really we need to, well, we can work that out first. We can say this must be, well, the word walking is ambulo, I walk. We need it in the past tense. Which past tense is it? It's the they were walking over a fair period of time. It could have been 5 minutes, it could have been 20 minutes, but whatever it is, it's the imperfect tense, isn't it? It's the imperfect tense, so it needs to be with ba somewhere towards the end. So we can put that there. Now we really need to look at who's doing it. Who's doing the walking? The nominative is this, isn't it? It's the girls. And if that's plural, there's only one word that you can translate the girls with in English, and that is they. They were walking. So it must be ambulabant. There it goes. Ambulabant is at the end of the sentence, so we've got that in place now. And then we just need to work out what the word is for the girls. I've already mentioned that they are nominative. So if they're nominative plural, girls, one of the first words that you know, isn't it, for goodness sake? So it's going to be puella to puellai. Pop that in there. And then we need to the forum. And for this, we don't really want the dative. That's an easy mistake to make, that you think it means a bit like the dative, she gave flowers to the boy, or I gave an order to the soldier. It's not that kind of to. It literally means towards. So it's the preposition we're looking for, and again, it's from quite early on, I'd have thought, many years ago, that you came across the word add, but hopefully you learned, when you learned it, you remembered that it takes the accusative. So if it takes the accusative, what's the accusative of forum? Forum is neuter. It's got a um on the end of it, it's neuter. Do you remember that neuter nouns look the same in the nominative and the accusative? So it's going to be forum. And there you've got your answer. So there's the first one done for you. Puellai ad forum ambulabant. That's nice and straightforward. Let's have a look at the next one. The slave is able to work in the garden. We'll separate it out a little bit. You'll notice that we've got, it's in the present tense. That's good news, it's the present tense. But it's one of those irregular verbs that hopefully you remember when you learnt the 7 irregular verbs. You've only got 7 of them. It's not impossible to make sure that you go away and learn these. They are sum, aren't they? Possum, ale, ferre, the most irregular one, and then the 3 ones that are quite similar: I want, I don't want, and I prefer. Vuolo, nolo, and malo. So it's only one of those 7 ones. They will probably throw a nasty little one in there for you, an irregular one, and it's going to be the word possum, which means I can. So we can identify that there. Let's again underline the word the slave, because that's going to be on its own, and the word the garden. So again, we can cross out the word the, cross out the word the. Is able is one of those parts of possum. So it will be possum, potest, potest. So it's potest, there we go. He is able, because we're talking about the slave. So let's put him in, servus. He is able, the slave is able to work in the garden. So we've got to work. We'll save the order until afterwards. We'll put that all together in a minute. So we've got to work is an infinitive. It's just a straightforward present infinitive. There are 3 different sorts of infinitive in Latin, but all we need here is the present infinitive. Laborare, fairly regular, with an infinitive ending re. And then we've got in the garden. Now it's obviously in, but is it in or into? Is it a position, or is he moving into the garden? Well, it's the position, isn't it? He's not moving into the garden, he's there already. So therefore, in here needs the ablative. So you put ablative of garden. Well, what's the word for garden? Hopefully you'll remember it's hortus, hortus, and that goes us, e, o, o. There it is, the ablative, o. So in horto, and then you just need to put them in the right order. So let's push the main verb. That's the can, or able to do something. Let's put that right the way to the end, and then the infinitive just in front of it. And there's your answer. Servus in horto laborare potest. It's worth 4 points. It's a little bit more of a complicated sentence there with an infinitive attached to the main verb. And here comes the last one. C, we greeted, there's an ED on the end of that, so automatically you're wondering about the tense. We greeted the son of the man. Again, let's split them up a little bit. Let's put lines underneath the bits that go together. The word we, you don't need, do you really? You put that on the ending, really, that goes into the ending of the verb. So what verb is it? To greet is saluto is I greet. So we need the we form, so it's, which tense is it? We greeted. So did it happen immediately or did it happen over a long period of time? It's tough to greet somebody for 5 minutes. It's difficult to keep hold of somebody's hands without them feeling that you're just being quite weird. So it must have happened at a particular moment. We greeted, bang, it happened. So the perfect tense. What's the perfect tense endings? Well, they get stuck onto the end of the perfect stem. So with saluto, that's completely regular. So salutav with AV, and then you put the perfect tenses on the end. I, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. So which one is it that we need? We need the imus, because it's we did it. We greeted the son of the man. Now, we greeted the son. He's the one who's being greeted. So he's the object. He's the accusative. Let's make sure that we know what the word for son is. Philios. What's the accusative of philios? Well, there's only one, so it's accusative singular, so philium. And then we've got an extra element. What have we got? Of the man. So it's the man's son. The man's, apostrophe S, son. The man's son is who we greeted. So the son we've done, but he belongs to the man. So what one's that? Which case is that? Well, of is always translated as with the genitive, and so is the apostrophe S if you decided to do it in the man's son. So it must be the genitive of the man. We've got 2 words for man. We've got wir, which is just a regular second declension one, so it would be viri for the genitive. And you've also got another word, homo, which means more like mankind, really, humankind. But I'm sure if you chose homo, there would not be a major problem, I don't think. I think they'd be quite happy to give you the points for that, as long as you put it in the genitive. Now, homo is not second declension, it's third declension. So for that, you need to know the stem. So it's not homo, it's homin. And then the ending of a genitive in the third group is is, homines. Again, let's put the verb at the end. And let's then put all that into position and we should have it. And there are your 10 points. Let's have a look at them all together. That's what they look like. And that's the way to think of doing this exercise. Good. I hope that was useful. I hope you've enjoyed working along with me on that and seeing how you can put a Latin sentence together. Hopefully that's given you some ideas about how to approach one of these questions, which is a little bit more complicated if you're not used to it. But on the other hand, I think as long as you know your main vocabulary, if you've got the vocabulary in place, but also more importantly, do you know whether that verb is a first or second or third or fourth conjugation verb, or do you really know how your endings go for the different tenses? Do you really know how to make a perfect tense verb with the right person? And also knowing your nouns, are they first, second, third declension nouns? They could throw in a fourth or fifth declension noun for you to work with. A little unfair, I'd have thought. I doubt that they'll do it, but they could do, so it's worth looking at them again. So really knowing your first, second and third declension nouns. Look again at the fourth and fifth, and remember there are patterns and there are connections with the others as well. They're not completely different systems. So hopefully that's given you some confidence with that particular question. There'll be more of these kind of videos to follow, so if you enjoyed them and you found it useful, please like it. Could you please subscribe? That would be brilliant. Please subscribe to the video channel if you'd like to get more of these, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Good luck with your GCSEs, and more importantly, good luck with your Latin.